Yo, what's going on, everybody? Ryjack back here. Another live stream. Today, we are discussing Man City transfers. A whole lot of news going on. All things football. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing, my guy? Welcome, welcome. Good to see you as always. Always first. Very nice to see. Whole lot of stuff to talk about today. I mean, the news has kind of popped off over the last, I don't know, like 24 to 48 hours. It's been really good. A lot of interesting information, and I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts. So, of course, before we start, leave a like if you're watching on replay or if you're in the chat now. Sub if you're new. We have way past our 150 sub goal. We're at 155 or something. So, awesome. New goal, 200 subscribers. 200. That's what we're going for. So, any help toward that, always appreciated. Anyway, my guys, let's go over to the bookmarks, see what I have saved in store. First on the list, I've got this tweet from Halden Domak, who I don't know who he is, but apparently he is a big-time source over in Turkey, and he tweets about Galatasaray and İlkay Gündoğan here. He says, İlkay Gündoğan is in Istanbul. He is looking for a villa in it's a tough one. Kemerburgaz, whatever that means. That must be a city or a town or something where near where Galatasaray play. And we have heard from long time ago that Gündoğan wanted and had a desire to go play in Turkey. That's where some of his family is from. He's getting up there in age. I mean, I think 35 going for next season. Does it make sense to keep him in the squad? I'm going to go with no. Even though he did have a pretty good second half of the season, I can't imagine he gets any better with age, So I think this is probably true. Gündoğan going to Galatasaray. We're signing Reinders probably, maybe some other midfielders. Someone's got to go. Gündoğan could be one of the first to leave. All Things Football says, I wonder if Ederson would be staying for the World Cup or if that's why we're upping our efforts for Costa. I'm not sure on that one. There's no Ederson news at all out there, to be honest. I haven't seen much of anything on this guy, on Ederson leaving at all. I was in a watch along the other day, or today I think. I was watching LB's stream, and Craig Partytime, who's like an ITK type guy, he said that no club has come in for Ederson. That's why there's basically no news. So, I mean, that's possible. It's possible that just nobody has contacted City yet. I mean, the window technically doesn't open until, I don't know, June 1st, which is Sunday. But I don't know if that's every club or if that's just clubs in the World Cup or, it's June 16th. So we're like just over 2 weeks away. So maybe his agent and him are on like a little holiday type deal, and when they get back, they're going to do these transfer negotiations for Ederson. But I do still expect the Saudi move. I don't know. He's got a year left on the contract. Surely they don't let him stay for, the year and then leave. I think they'll want a fee, and that's why we've seen so many goalies linked. But not a whole lot of goalie news other than Costa and Garcia, so we'll see which one that will be. Like I said, now I created a new scene here. Not that one. This one. It might be better, so you guys can see the whole thing instead. You can have that where I'm a little bigger, or you can have that. So I'm going to try this and see if people like that, or if people don't like it, they can let me know. But yeah, Gündoğan to Turkey, I think makes sense for all parties involved. He is an absolute legend of the club, one of the City's best ever players, one of the most underrated players in the Prem all time for me, maybe even the best German ever in the Prem. I know Michael Ballack was really good, and I'm sure there's a lot of good German players in the Prem, but Mesut Ozil, obviously really good. But for my money, I mean, definitely legacy-wise, it's got to be Gündoğan. Gündoğan, best German ever for my money. Now, I'm going to scroll down a bit and go a little bit further down. This was the other Gündoğan tweet from Ali Nasi Kukçuk, who's got even more followers, saying basically the same thing. It's just happening. It's going to happen. Gundogan to Turkey, so no big deal. My thought is City used Garcia to put Porto under pressure to come down in their asking. That's also possible as well, because I've seen a lot of stuff that Garcia is interested in Newcastle or Barca, and I haven't seen a whole lot of Garcia to City except for like the initial one report that came out, but maybe that was fake. So I don't know. Like right here, Man City have chosen Diogo Costa over Garcia, according to Xavi Espinosa, which I talked about the other day. And this, another one right here. Where is it? Yeah, all this is saying Costa is the guy, but I don't think they want to spend 50 million on him. You know, if we're going to spend 300 this summer, 50 on a goalie, if you can, lower that, obviously that is ideal and what they're going to look for. There's also the Tijani Reinders and Ryan Cherky discussions going on. I think those are important that we look at. This is 2 days ago. AC Milan got their proposal, positive talks, blah, blah, blah. Ryan Cherky is going to be focused on by Man City from Senti Ayuna, which is a really good source, apparently. But before we talk about that, Fabrizio yesterday says Ipswich are going for Divin Mubama, who I believe we bought from West Ham for $2.5 million. They want to buy him for $10 million. City they prefer a loan instead of Mubama going on a permanent deal. I don't really think it makes a difference. I saw this guy play like twice for City this year. I never thought anything major of it personally. I think he did score in the FA Cup against Salford, if I remember correctly. But, buying a guy for $2 million and selling him for 10 within a year is pretty good business. So sell him for 10, have a sell-on clause. If he smashes it at Ipswich in the championship and he wants to go to a Prem team, then City will get some more money. That's fine. I don't think anything crazy there. Then we have the real big news this morning. Man City and AC Milan have reached an agreement for Tijani Reinders worth 70 million euros, which is like 58 million pounds, I believe. And that's including bonuses. So, that's pretty good in my opinion. I feel like we're not getting scammed. We're not getting, it's not going crazy on the price for Tijani Reinders. It's not like, Newcastle asking 80 million for Livramento. It's much more obtainable. 58 million pounds is fine. True City fan Pat says, put the likes up, y'all. Thank you, Pat. I appreciate that. Welcome to the stream, my guy. Hope you are doing well. And like I said, Tijani Reinders, I'm very excited about it. It makes sense. Gundogan going out the other way. Reinders coming in. Reinders is what they call the Gundogan regen. I think it makes a lot of sense. And I'm for it. I'm for it. I'm going to pull up his FB Ref profile page just so we can look at his advanced analytics stats and whatnot again, just to remind some of you guys who may or may not have forgotten here. He is only, 26, will be 27 in about 2 months, which is, again, not a big deal. Wages are 75,000 euros weekly. City obviously can do better. Pat wants me to send him a DM, get me on a show. No problem, Pat. I will do that. I can do that right now for you. I'll just do it right. I'll do it live. There you go. Sent. All things football, I can't see all three of our midfielders leaving, so that means Pep's favorite child may be staying. I think you mean Bernardo Silva. I prefer Ilkay stays. It's interesting. Ilkay, Gundo, and Kovacic. I think all three might be heading out the door, to be honest. I think it's possible. Especially if we're buying Tijani, Morgan Gibbs-White, and Ryan Cherky. And now I don't know if Ryan Cherky and Gibbs-White both happen. There's been a lot of discussions online about if we're doing one or the other, or if Fabrizio means both. When he says they're both on the list, they're both targets. Are they targets together or are they targets separately? I don't know. It's hard to say. Silva is the GOAT, mate. I think that opinion splits the fan base quite heavily, Pat. I've seen so many people in the streams tell me Bernardo is finished. Bernardo has to go. And he's only got 1 year left. He's going to leave on a free anyway in a year. So if we can get some cash for him, I'm all right with that option. Now, that's assuming we're able to get Gibbs White, Ryan Cherokee, and Reinders. I think then you have some interesting movement in the midfield, and it's an upgrade in my opinion. Now, like I said, you look at these advanced stats over here on the left. I mean, they're all very, very impressive. He is third most similar to Ilkay Gundogan. Other players of note, Alex Baena, who I know a lot of City fans love and wished they would have gone for, but apparently he didn't want to leave Spain, so, it is what it is. Jude Bellingham, also 10th, 9th most similar. Bernardo Silva, another interesting name to see. The numbers that I like, shots total, over 2 per 90, 98th percentile. I think a lot of us get very upset with the lack of shooting and the lack of creation and attack going forward over the last year. So seeing a midfielder who's an 8 who can, get to the edge of the box, shoot, maybe crash into the box, shoot, score. I mean, non-penalty goals, he's at basically 1 every 3-ish games or so, which is pretty good. Shot creating actions, he's very high. He doesn't pass, apparently, a whole lot, and he basically does no defensive work. But if he's an 8 and Rodri's a 6, I mean, Rodri can really recover most of that work, in my opinion. Plus, City have the ball for 65-70% of the time. So, some of that is up in the air whether this actually matters or not. I mean, you'd probably like to see a little bit more than less than 1 tackle per 90. He's the bottom 1% in the top 5 leagues. But maybe Milan just dominate the ball and they don't really play much defense. Who knows? City seemed to distance themselves from Gibbs White compared to how fast the news was coming in. That is true. I mean, Gibbs White has really slowed down. That news has really slowed down. And I mean, I always think maybe that's because the deal's done and there's nothing more to report. Or City have basically pulled off and said, you know what, we've discovered this Ryan Cherokee boy, and he's the one. He's way cheaper than Gibbs White would be. Not homegrown, but maybe they figured out some other homegrown situations elsewhere. Who knows? So yes, Tijani Reinders looks to be getting done over the next, 5 days or so. I'd be happy to see that one go through. I think he'll be very good, and he looks to be in the Club World Cup squad. I think that potentially happens. Now, here we get a tweet from Jack Gohan. However you say his last name, Jack is obviously one of the big inside City sources. He says McAtee's been added to the under-21s Euro training squad, not going to the Club World Cup. Signals the end of his time at Man City, most likely. And I would agree with this. I mean, unfortunately, McAtee had his chances this season, and he did not do quite enough with them. For me, for my money, he wasn't good enough when given the opportunity. He's one of those players that gets in good positions. It's like, man, he's in the right spot, but he just missed his opportunity there, or he created something, but it wasn't quite good enough to come through. I don't know. If I pull up his stats here, I'm curious how they look because I haven't checked them before. But his goals are through the roof, which is not surprising. He gets goals. He does score. That is an interesting number, but assists, he just didn't get an assist at all. Shot creating actions is extremely low. Passes extremely low. Completion, whatever, that's an irrelevant stat for me. Has good defensive work rate, but these are the guys he's getting compared to. Brendan Johnson. Is Brendan Johnson good enough for City? No. Matoma, maybe. Sunset, I don't know who that is. Orsolini, I don't know. Nuama, never heard of him. Luis Diaz might be going to Saudi. Leroy Sané, maybe going to Spurs. I don't know. So, saving money on Gibbs White, so we can pay 120 on Livramento, but you mean 80, I see. I don't think they're going to be doing the 80 on Livramento, to be honest. I can't see it happening. I can't. It's too much money. It's too much money on Livramento for a right back who doesn't really do much in terms of goal creation. While we're talking about Tino Livramento, though, I can pull him up if I can spell his name right. Oh, Valentino. That's why I didn't pull up. It's not a very British name, Valentino. Yeah, see what I'm saying? 37 Premier League games, 1 assist. And I know you're not going to get a ton of assists and everything, but, like, I don't know. He's similar to Udogi, who's, like, solid, but is he very, very good? I don't know. Joe Scally, the American, who's, okay, but he's not a Champions League level player. Basically nothing in attack. Okay defensively. And, this is nothing really that interesting to me. So the numbers don't look great for Livramento, but I do know he is young, English, right back, would cost a lot. He's probably England's right back going forward. I don't think this is going to happen, unfortunately. If you're one looking for Livramento, I think you'll be disappointed, guys. I think you'll be disappointed. I don't see him coming. I think we're going to end up with Wesley. Yes, I do. I kind of agree. I see Wesley as the one that has died down a little bit as well. For a right back, Wesley I haven't seen a whole lot of news other than like a week ago where it said we were in the running. Maybe that pops up over the next week when we finish Reinders and Cherky deal. That's also possible. Pat says Aït-Nouri is the one. I agree. Aït-Nouri is phenomenal. I think he'll be an outstanding left back. Allow City to put Gvardiol left center back at his more natural position, where I think he could easily be like a top 5 center back in the world very quickly next season. Elsewhere, as far as the other notable transfer news, Santi Ayuna, big one that we need to talk about. He says Ryan Cherky has said yes to Man City. No personal issues on the deal. A deal could be reached around 40 million euros, which is cheap. I think that's 30 million pounds, something like that. City want to get it done, so he's in the World Cup squad. Anticipating other top sides also are interested, but if he's chosen Man City, it's kind of like the Florian Wirtz situation. He's just gonna go Liverpool. You know what I mean? It's if he wants to come and City want it to happen, that it's gonna happen. That's how it works. As strange as that is, that's how it works. I have looked at this for Ryan Cherky before. These numbers are outstanding. It is very difficult to not get excited about these type of numbers right here for an attacking-minded player. You will see over on the right. Oh, come on. None of this, guys. No. Over on the right, he is most similar to Ousmane Dembele, one of the leading contenders for the Ballon d'Or. Second, Florian Wirtz, who we were going to spend 130 million euros on. Lamine Yamal, fifth, who is going to win the Ballon d'Or. Michael Olise, who we should have signed last summer. Rafael Leao, who's outstanding. Savio, who's already our player. Vinny Jr., who came in second in the Ballon d'Or last year. And Cole Palmer, who is obviously outstanding. So, Ryan Cherky's basically the only name that in this list doesn't play for like an outstanding club or anything. He does play in the French league. Yes, all things football. He does play in the French league. But, getting 20 G&A in 30 games in a top 5 league, like that's still pretty good. Even if it is the French league, the French league is physical. I think it's a good league to come from when you go to the Premier League. The French league has like big-bodied individuals who play. The style of play is more similar to the Premier League than like Serie A, where the style is more techie and they're not quite as physical. Or like the Italian league. I think the French league is a great league to sign players from, to see if they can make that jump, from like a less quality league but super physical to a higher quality league and also super physical. So I like these numbers. They're great. His wages are obviously not going to be an issue. He's at 76,000 euros. Like, that's basically nothing for someone coming to play for City. Like I said, though, these are the numbers that impress me. 99th percentile in assists, expected goals, shot creating actions, and progressive passes. That's fantastic. That's lovely. Music to my ears. I'm sure it is for all the fans who are screaming for things. Unprofessional opinion, La Liga is kind of a farmer's league. The bottom of La Liga is bad. Is bad, man. The bottom of the Premier League versus the bottom of the La Liga, like it's not even close. The top of La Liga is very good. Real Madrid, Barcelona, they are very good teams. Atletico Madrid, even like Bilbao are good. Villarreal is solid, but the bottom, like Valladolid, man, they are terrible. They are so bad. And yes, City do have success coming from the French league. Bernardo Silva came from the French league. Obviously, a City legend, one of our 10 best ever players. So it can be done for sure. Now, the one thing I'll say about Cherky, again, these numbers not very encouraging for defensive work rate. People say he's lazy. People say he's got problems. He's a head case. I don't know if City would go in on this transfer if they believe that to be true. It feels like that is kind of you know what I mean. That feels kind of fake. Where there's so much negative talk about Ryan Cherky online that I cannot believe all of it is true. Maybe there's some truth to it where he is a bit of a, I'll do whatever I want kind of guy, but he can't be that bad. I would be shocked. I could probably send Everton over there and they'd win almost all except like the top 5, 6. Bro, I would expect Everton to finish like top 7 in the French league. You know what you mean? KDB wasn't a defender. Another good point. KDB never had great defensive numbers, really. He was a good presser of the ball, and I'm curious. I wonder if there's like a how often they press type stat, how you would find that. I don't know. Because I think people say he's kind of lazy, Cherky. But I don't know. I'm thinking this is a deal that we get done and it works. I would be pretty excited for the Cherky deal. Maybe we shouldn't let this guy talk. What else do I have saved? I think there was another Fabrizio tweet just before I went live. Where did it go? I'll pull it back up. Fabrizio said PSG are in talks to sign Mastantuono, which is a bit sad because I know a lot of City fans wanted that guy, and that's not happening, but that's okay. Thought there was a bit of more news from Fabrizio. I guess not. I mean, there is the new coach situation that we've got going. Pep Lijnders will start working for City in the Club World Cup, which is cool. He's like Klopp's assistant. I think people maybe for a while thought he might take over for Klopp. Maybe that's not true. But obviously that didn't happen. He went to Salzburg, I think, for a year, and maybe that didn't go well, and that's why he wants to come back to England. I don't know. But people say he's big on the running and all that, and maybe that means we're going to be changing our play style. Maybe it signals the Unks are leaving. The young athletic midfielders are coming in. Cherky, Tijani Reinders, and Morgan Gibbs White. And we're going to be a very heavy press, gegenpress type team. And Leinders will be that kind of guy. The other name linked is Colo Torre, who I'm going to be guessing works on our defensive style just because he was a defender for City back in his day. So I'm happy with those two additions. It's hard for me to say which assistant coaches are going to make a difference with Pep. But new voices is always a good idea, I think. And, it was probably time for some of those guys to move on, get some new jobs, and Pep to get some new advice in his head, in the dressing room, and the coaching staff. So that is all exciting stuff. It's most of the news for today. I will be posting a short on YouTube here and on TikTok, so do check that out if you're interested. It'll be kind of like a summary of what we just did. And anybody who does watch, in my screen, your volume is going off and on. My volume looks good. I think it might be you, potentially. ATF, I think it might be you. It does look like mine's fine. That guy wasn't even watching football 10 years ago. Let's pick City to support. LOL. Canon creature. If you mean me, it's not true. I did start watching actually 11 years ago. So, get cooked. 11 years ago. 2014 World Cup was when I started. So, hooked you there. Anyway, and I did pick City because of KDB at the time. It's the only thing I knew. So, sue me. Anyway, that is all I've got for today. Do check out the TikTok. Like I said, I've got I hit 100K on a video on TikTok, which is really cool. So first time I've done that. Hopefully that happens again and happens. I'll be really cool, really happy with that. A lot of growth on TikTok, which is cool. I'm at like 1,300 over there, and hopefully we can get YouTube to that number one day. So thank you guys. I do appreciate it. That is all. I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully, if there's some more news, maybe some signings happen, but Champions League final. We'll see that tomorrow. So